in the bag of flour, it's in the air, and it's even on your skin. Don't be scared. Let's get started now. My measuring cups. These are stainless steel, but it's okay. Anything works. And I'm going to scoop out a half a cup of whole wheat, unbleached, regular flour. Why regular? Because organic flour tends to have different enzymes and it doesn't work as easily. I'm gonna put a half a cup. So magic and so simple. And then we're gonna put a quarter cup of water. Okay. Now, the water has to be room temperature so it doesn't shock the yeast. It has to be without chlorine, and everything has to be very sterile, clean, or just washed, like this fork can't be a dirty fork. And try not to get your fingers in there or touch the rim or anything. Take your fork and stir. It's gonna be a fairly dense situation in the jar, so you want to make sure you mix this nicely and see what happens. Very dense, very crummy, very, very thick. It's so thick it sticks to my fork. I can't see you. If you have something like this, that's good. Okay. You close that lid without the rubber, because the yeast needs to exhale. If you don't have one of those lidded jars, you can also put a plastic wrapper over it. Okay. So. Closing it, it's in there. That's all we need to do for now, and we have to put it in a warm place. So what I do is I put my oven light on and I set it in there. But make sure you remember that you have your starter in there and you don't preheat the oven and push your roast in or your pizza, which, by the way, happened to me one time with a fully developed starter. Yes. That's it for this morning. That's all we do. We let it do its thing for 24 hours. And tomorrow morning, we're going to look at it again. It might have bubbles or it might not. If it doesn't have bubbles, then they might have appeared overnight and disappeared again. So don't be sad. That's all we do. And then we let it rest another 24 hours. What if I don't have whole wheat flour? So the whole wheat flour, it has more of the original germs and, the good stuff, the natural stuff. So it will be easier to turn into the sourdough starter. Now it might work with your flour, but it might not work the same way, or it might just take longer. It depends on air temperature. It depends on many different elements that are in nature and unpredictable. So give it a try. I have some, but it's rancid. No, you don't want a rancid flour to start your sourdough starter because it's going to be in everything you bake. Somebody asked me, what's your easiest bread? And for me, the easiest bread I know is this one and the bread machine. is pretty much put it in and forget about it, you know? And if you don't have a sourdough starter yet, you can watch the video, and when your starter is ready, you try it out. Okay, see you later. We'll check back in tomorrow morning. Bye. Good morning, everybody. Today is an exciting day because we are going to feed our starter. It's day 3. Mine looks like this. Fluid, bubbly. Yeah, big bubbles. Okay. It smells like paint remover or something like that. It doesn't smell bad, but it kind of smells a little funky, which is very good. Take half of the starter out of this bowl, discard it in just an extra spare bowl. It's gonna be gooey. But you wanna pour the remainder in a clean jar. Use a clean fork to mix it up with following. We need a half a cup of all-purpose flour. Make sure it's a flat cup, you know, not too much. It's even with the top. And we need a 1/4 cup of water, room temperature, non-chlorinated. I always use the bottled water. Now, if you find that the texture is too thick, let's mix this. Then we can always add a little bit more water. I'm gonna use just a teaspoon more. Okay. And scrape whatever goes on the side of the rim of the jar. Scrape that off and integrate it so that it is fairly clean. Also here, if something is here, just take it off. I'm gonna add 1 more teaspoon because we want this to be smooth and kind of like Stonyfield yogurt in texture. See that? I take some kitchen paper. I take half of it, rip it apart, cover it lightly so that it can get some air. So now it can breathe through the membrane. Can I do the rubber band with the one I started yesterday? No, 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 and no, 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 no. Okay, and the reason is it needs to be sealed tightly, and you put this lid on without the rubber band just so the gases can escape and the jar doesn't explode, but it needs to be sealed. And then on day 3, you do this with the paper and the rubber band, and you put it back into the nice warm oven with the light on. Okay, great. Thank you all for joining. I'm gonna put this precious little head of mine back into the oven and hope it's gonna work out.